The music industry as we know it today is a mere 100 years old. Its emergence and rise to power is all thanks to a little piece of metal called the acoustic horn. The inventor Thomas Edison was the first to successfully reproduce his voice in 1877 with his speaking machine, and thus ushered in the era of the phonogram. Hello my dear polyphonic friends of harmony and sound, welcome to It's History. I'm Brett, and today I want to explore in this series the wonderful world of sound recording. It all starts once again with Mr. Thomas Alva Edison. Now when you hear the name Edison, people immediately think of the light bulb, one can say. And yes, that is exactly what we said in our last episode when we covered the history of that wonderful little invention. But there are many who do not know of the countless other inventions that spawned from the efforts of this industrious, self-educated American. This guy had his fingers in everything, among them the invention of sound recording. This is of course not to say that Edison was the only one to come up with the idea, far from it. The desire to preserve one's own voice, whether through vanity or other reasons, is very old. There are documented attempts of people trying to do just this, which goes far back as the 10th century. So Edison was in this respect only faster than everyone else, or as he would say himself, "I am more than a sponge than an inventor. I absorb ideas from every source. My principal business is giving commercial value to the brilliant but misdirected ideas of others." Thomas Edison created for himself a think tank in Menlo Park in New York, and with the idea of a speaking machine fresh in his mind, he gave a crude sketch of the device to his collaborator, John Cruzy, a Swiss immigrant, who later built the device that would on the 21st of November 1877 become the world's first voice recorder, which he named the phonograph. Edison's sketch presented Mr. Cruzy with a picture of tinfoil wrapped around a metal roll, much like the foil wrapped around chocolate Easter bunny eggs, that could be turned with the hand crank. Using an acoustic horn, the sound's vibrations would then become pressed against a membrane that would start to vibrate. This membrane was fitted to a steel needle that would carve the vibrations into the tinfoil as it turned. Edison's speaking machine was presented to a wider audience on the 6th of December 1877, and boy was everyone excited. Edison leaned over the flaring horn and spoke the following words of wisdom.
Hello, 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 Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white as snow, and everywhere where Mary went, that lamb was sure to go. Ha, 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 ha.
It was now realized. He was the first man to hear his own voice speak back to him from a recording. The patent was filed on December 24th, and 1887 saw the first commercial production of the speaking machine. The main customers were mostly showmen who presented the device at fairs. This speaking machine caused a flurry of excitement at first, but then fizzled away quickly, and for good reason. Poor sound quality, and with no more than a minute to record, requiring frequent replacement of the cylinders. Disappointed by poor sales of his speaking machine that he later named the phonograph, Edison gave up his pursuit in voice recording and spent the next 10 years devoting himself to other inventions. But during this time, another inventor took on the task and, based on Edison's principles, revolutionized the technique of sound recording. Developed by Emil Berliner, a German from Hanover who immigrated to America, his device quickly became very popular and virtually set up the foundation for the record. On the 26th of December, 1887, Berliner patented his device that would record sound into discs. He called it a gramophone. Edison noticed a renewed interest along with improvements that were made in the sound recording technology, and up to 1890 attempted to upgrade his phonograph, but it still could not compete with the record. The key component to Berliner's innovation was that unlike Edison, who recorded sound on a cylinder, Berliner recorded sound vibrations on a disc. On May 16, 1888, about 6 months after Edison's invention, Berliner presented his device to the public for the first time to an expert panel in the Franklin Institute of Philadelphia. Berliner also used the horn, membrane, and needle method to record. However, he also invented another kind of sound recording technique. He didn't carve the sound waves vertically onto a cylinder like Edison, but instead recorded the sound from left to right using horizontal modulation of the needle as it traced its line along the rotating disc with a thin coating of soot. Berliner's method improved sound quality considerably. Directly after the recording process, the soot was varnished and then used to photo-engrave its equivalent grooves onto a metal disc. The discs had an average diameter of 25 to 30 centimeters and could be played at a speed of 78 RPMs. However, a major drawback emerged from Berliner's method. The disc could only be used to play sounds once they were recorded and could not not be used to record from again, since the grooves of the disc projected inward. Thus, the records could only be made one at a time, which the artists found to be unacceptable as they were forced to play the same song over and over again. Berliner continued to experiment and came up with a solution in 1895. He replaced the black layer of carbon with a massive sheet of wax, which he then electroplated, resulted in a negative record with grooves projecting outward and not inward that he could use to stamp positive copies with. Electroplating is a physical process which goes all the way back to the Italian physicist Luigi Galvani that uses electric current to change the surface properties of an object. With this process, copper plates could finally be reproduced at will. For these copper plates, Berliner used a material composed of around 70% stone dust and 30% shellac, resulting in the so-called shellac discs. On the subject of shellac, for those like me who never heard of it before, it's a resin secreted from the female lac insect. Now, this parasite has its home in Burma, India, and Thailand and loves to feed on the sap of lacquer trees. Now, these sophisticated bugs protect their eggs by covering the branches with a 3 to 10 millimeter thick layer full of shellac. Just so you know. It required a Hungarian physicist who immigrated to America named Peter Carl Goldmark to turn the record into the LP that we know today. Now, Goldmark developed a record made of plastic vinyl that could be recorded on both sides. Now, he presented his development on the 21st of June, 1948 at a distributor meeting in Atlantic City, which he patented under the name LP, standing for Long Playing Record. For those of you who love figures, Goldmark's record had a diameter of 30 centimeters and were set at 33 1/3 revolutions per minute, boasting 100 micro grooves per centimeter, and could play for a whopping 23 minutes per side. Booyah! Although the shellac record stayed in the market for nearly 60 years and still had some transformations to undergo, it took sound recording to the next level, as well as also ushering in the creation of an entire industry, namely the music industry. The shellac age ended in the 70s, and all other developments on the LP continued to follow the same principles, only using other ingredients. The development from the first shellac record player to mass-produced sound recording devices took about 60 years. Neither Edison's cylinder nor Berliner's Gramophone records could achieve any lasting success. It was only the vinyl record that could become a mass-marketed product. And although vinyl could not fulfill all the desires of the most passionate music lovers, the LP is today hotter than ever. In the US, only about 300,000 vinyl records sold in 1993, whereas last year in 2014, more than 9.2 million were bought to be put to the needle. But that doesn't mean the quality of DJs has improved by those same figures. So why have LPs only increased in sales? How many of you are fans of the record? Does it really sound that much better? Or do you think that it's still just a matter of time before they finally vanish like the phonograph from memory? Write us down some of your thoughts in the comments down below. So what happens next? How was it that the cassettes and CDs took over? Don't skip the next episode where we will learn about the history of the audio medium. And if you want to learn more about one of the pioneers of the free market who indirectly played an important role for the music industry, come check out our video of Adam Smith. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See ya. I'm gonna listen to some good old beats. Oh no, AC/DC.